How many homes exist today from the Armstrong company? We're not sure. We're just thrilled Scottdale has one.
I don't even need to ask my questions because every time I'm thinking, oh, I should ask you a question,
I'm sorry.
You give the facts. No, it's perfect.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Well, please ask questions.
That reminds me, Dave.
Yeah?
I have some facts.
We don't need your facts, Dominic. We don't need them.
I'm Dominic Damaski.
And I'm David Fedor. Join us as we explore the fun things to do on and off the trails of Western Pennsylvania.
And remember, your next adventure is just a bike or hike away.
All right, Dominic, we're at the Scottdale Historical Society. You got a pamphlet there.
I'm interested already.
There are some historic homes in this area. And with this pamphlet you could find right at the top on this porch of the Historical Society, you could take a walking tour around town and check out these awesome homes.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty cool. We're going to do that?
We're going to do that today, but we're also going to be joined by a special guest. We have Tom here from the Historical Society. They give tours. So if you don't want to do your own self-guided tour, you could have somebody come and give you more facts.
A real expert, not a Dave.
A real expert, not a Dom. So yeah, we're gonna go take a walking tour of Scottdale.
Well, let's do it.
All right.
I feel like I'm walking with a rock star, Dave.
We are. This is Mr. Scottdale himself.
Mr. Scottdale?
Yeah.
Yes. Tom, welcome to Bikes and Hikes, man.
Well, hey, welcome to Scottdale. You're going to have a great day here to take a walking tour around town.
So, you are part of the Historical Society. And in charge of a lot of things going on. It's 150 years you're celebrating too.
Yeah,
right?
We're kicking off Scottdale's 150th. It's officially next year, and that's all part of the Scottdale Historical Society. And we have a ton of events planned in town. And you know, this is a great way to get started, learning your way around town and seeing all the wonderful homes.
So, what is it about these homes, and because there's different eras and there's different architecture, what are some things we need to like start looking at right away?
Other than, you know, a few styles, you're going to find any type of architecture in the United States here in Scottdale other than like Mediterranean. So, you know, basically there was a financial boom in Scottdale during the Victorian era, so we are known for a lot of the Victorian homes, and of course just the progression. We have great postmodern architecture and everything. Whenever you're even talking about Victorian homes, just if you look at this set of three homes right across the street,
you're good.
You have the rounded bay window, you have the wonderful leaded glass window transoms on the top, the house next door, you have the double turrets on the house, you have all the fish scale designs, and what's really unique is that triple porch or those balconies on the second and third tier. And then you have another wonderful Queen Anne style Victorian on the other side, like a tribute to what is called stick style. Just when you look at all the spindles or the millwork up around the porch level and so forth, those are just very Victorian details that you just don't find today. You know, again, things like those little corner porches like on the house there on the second floor, that rounded bay area, it allows for a lot of light coming in. And when you look at all the leaded glass or the transits and so forth, we have some beautiful stained glass here in town. When you look at the brick house on the corner, that's another fantastic house. There's on the second floor there into the corner, it's kind of hard to tell how much stained glass is there. The roof has been redone, but even look how the tiles are done on the roof. The original slate was done like that to be decorative, and it was all done in that Victorian style. Less is more. You know, you have a lot of details. So when you look at Victorian architecture, it's a blend of a lot of styles, and so it's not just basically one period because you were combining all the styles of the past. We are going to go up Arthur Avenue, and that's this street here, and as we get across the street,
watch out, Dave. Tom, I could listen to you talk all day long, seriously.
The blue house here on the corner, these are two great Victorian Queen Anne style homes. Back in the 80s, whenever you're painting a lot of colors, they started calling them painted ladies. And yeah, so this is a nod to that, but this is very much what the Victorians did. Trims were never one color. It would always be combinations of a lot of colors. So, and that was a very Victorian treatment. Just when you look at the top of the turret there, just look at all the colors that are put under those little brackets, and the detail, the little arches in the orange, the grooves in the boards. And then when you get up into the gables, look at the more than one type of a shingle style. Again, all the colors, different colors were used to bring out all those special details. And so these are more contemporary colors today, but that's a very Victorian technique on a way to paint a historic home. Yeah. The house across the street, this angle gives you a great idea, very European when you look at the fourth floor. So like you see the ground level, and then you have your second floor, you have the attic or the third floor, but then if you look above, there's also windows and things, and that was attributed to what is called a bridge style chimney. And see how the wall is going across. Not only did it make for a very secure building and stabilize the chimneys, again, a European detail that you see, and it's a very popular style here in the United States as well. Okay, we're going to continue on up Arthur Avenue, and one of the things, Scottdale still does have a few brick streets. I do have to point that out. At the turn of the century, that was a big deal to have a brick-lined street, believe it or not, because before that was mud or gravel, and that was, you were in the big leagues when you had a paved street with brick. The house over on the left, just kind of calling out the windows on the first and second floor to the right corner of the house, just the way they're arched. You'll see quite a few of those details on a few homes here in town. And again, you have the different shingles up in the gable in the front. You have a combination of the horizontal boards and a couple of the fish scale design.
Is there a best time for people to visit, or should they come anytime?
Any time of the year. And then, what's really pretty at Christmas time when people decorate, it's kind of fun to walk around and see, the Christmas lights and things. And, so anytime's a good time to walk around Scottdale. I'd like to kind of call attention to the house here. This house was built in the 1890s by the Keister family. This would be more of a neoclassic, or definitely a true period home. This is looking back pre-Victorian. This style of architecture became very, very popular as the Victorian style was fading out of favor. So whenever you look at this home with the dormers, look at the tall chimneys, you'll see details like this if you're like in Williamsburg, or if you're in an area. Thomas Jefferson had a lot to do with bringing the Georgian style architecture into the United States. But even the columns with the egg and dart design around the top, very, very early American designs carried through on this house. This would be called Classic Revival, and it's a nod or tribute back to those colonial times.
Wow. So obviously, from just a few minutes of walking with you, you could see how you could walk and look and appreciate the buildings, but when you book a tour with somebody with knowledge about these things, you get even more information, obviously.
Well, we try to make it, interesting and fun, and call out details. And a walking tour is the best way to do this, because when you're in a car, you're kind of going through at a certain speed, where now you have time to just pause and look at some of the wonderful details and really learn to appreciate them.
So if somebody wants to come and do this with you, how should they contact you?
Easy. Visit our website, ScottdaleHistoricalSociety.com. We have our contact information, phone numbers, and request. And then, like I say, we're volunteers, and we can work it into the schedule. The next house here on the right, that is a true example of a bungalow-style home. Bungalow-style homes have a large porch with no blocks. See how wide the span is from each corner? There's no posts in the center. Typically a lot of larger windows, how you have the triple window into the living area. And so whenever you think about some of the prairie style, you hear that with Frank Lloyd Wright, a lot of the prairie style homes out in the Chicago area, this was a very popular trend after the Victorian period. Easier lifestyle, easy to maintain, and it was made for more casual living.
Wow.
The house across the street, this is more what you call French eclectic. When you look at the porch, that is a French detail. See how it's arched, the roof?
Yeah.
Look at the window designs, look at the masonry. You have a lot of detail with the stacked brick. You have the corner coins and stuff on the windows. Again, very much of a French style architecture there in the house. Inside has incredible features, coffered ceilings. You know, there's even like an orchestra, not an orchestra, but a quartet area on the main landing as you go up the staircase that they could play music and have a quartet in there, and it would waft down into the public rooms when you'd be entertaining.
Tom, how long have you been studying all this?
Well, that's what I went to school for,
Oh, did you?
period architecture and design, and but I've had an interest in architecture since I was a kid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just something I've always enjoyed. This particular home here with the church, the temple, the Jewish temple was on the side. This has not been used as a church for years, but you know, if you just kind of take a look at the windows and the signage over the door, you know, it's another one of our little architectural jewels here in town. And of course, you can tell from this it was built in 1910.
So I'd imagine, like, when people move into these homes, they're also generally aware of the history?
I would assume, you know, and I think that's what attracts you. If you're an old home, if you love old homes, that's what draws you to them. I really think that's part of it. And, you know, people, as they move into town, they will reach out to the Historical Society looking for some history.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple of people on the board who will do a lot of that research and give you ideas. And then when we have our Christmas house tour, anybody who does that, they do receive a house history and all as well.
Oh, wow, that's
yeah.
cool.
We're going to go up the street, a few more houses. The one on the corner here, I have to ask you to take a little, you know, pause when you get to the front door and you look at the side lights and the doors on this house. It's got incredible leaded glass.
Oh, wow, yeah, I can see it from here.
And again, this is tying in with that, you know, going into the arts and crafts, that mission style, the large overhang of the eaves, the dormers and so forth. But like I say, those windows and doors are fantastic on that home.
Cool.
The next house here is very special for town. This was built by the Armstrong company. They were in existence in 1947. This is an all stainless steel home. After World War II, there was such a demand for housing in the United States, and the Armstrong company felt this is something that they could answer the need for housing in a quick period of time. Although the homes were triple the price of stick built, these were built in Ohio, and the homes were delivered on a flatbed truck and would be installed on a pad in 2 days. Not only are the exterior walls steel, stainless steel, that are coated, so are all the interior walls.
What?
It has a steel built-in vanity in the master bedroom. This house still has the original 1947 cabinets, and until the house was on the market a few years ago, it still had the original Thor appliances inside.
Wow.
And the original 1947 dishwasher was in the garage. So, you know, but the house has incredible features and things about it. The Armstrong company only was in existence for a few years. There were 2,400 homes built, and in 1950 they had 5,000 orders on the books. However, they couldn't make the payments for the initial startup costs for the company, so there were no more homes manufactured. I'd like for you to take note of the red brick house here on our left. When you see the porch, how you have the bump out extension, you look inside on the corner, the rounded arches, that's a Romanesque detail.
Oh, wow.
And what's really nice is the fact that, you know, it's just one of those, you know, period type architectural designs.
Oh, that is cool how there's like
Yep.
2 arches on each side.
Exactly.
And then the porch too.
And then
That's
again,
cool.
that wrap porch with the door on the side, how we talked about a lot of the wrap around porches having the door for the second entrance for not your special guests.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the home across the street, I think if we step down, we'll be able to catch a better view of it because of the trees. This home is circa 1905. It was built by Parker. Parker, he had the department store here in town. This house, Parker was very involved with a lot of travels with his business, and he happened to be in Denver, Colorado. And he saw this home in his travels. He engaged the architect, and he actually built this home from the floor plan and the design that he saw in Denver. For those of people who are very familiar with Mount Pleasant, right on Main Street, there is the sister to this. It's more of an orangish brick, but it's the same house in Mount Pleasant as well. The architect did that home. The Parker family was rumored they weren't real happy that it was copycatted.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, so we have three sisters, one in Denver, one in Mount Pleasant, of course the home here built by the Parker family here on Laux Avenue. We're now here on the corner of Mulberry. This home is a combination, again, of a few Victorian styles. You have the French Empire or the French Renaissance look with the roof. When you look at the second floor and you look at those dormers, look how steep the roof line is. That's called a mansard roof. And that design was brought over from France because in France, you were taxed on all the living space below the roof line. So whenever you look at how steep the roof is, okay, that gives you all that square footage, and you didn't have to pay taxes on that upper floor. So that is, as I mentioned, a French design. And then when you look at the tower and you look at the rounded windows, that's an Italian design. So it's a blend of, and that's what Victorian architecture is a lot of, a blend of styles of architecture. And this is a fine example. This house was built circa 1874, 75. Samuel Zerley was the architect, and one of the things, if you look closely, all the detail on the frieze boards, look underneath, see how like there's that roof line, that horizontal line between the first and second floor, see how intricate those boards are with the cornices, and you have a closer detail on the sister house right across the street here.
Oh yeah.
And both homes, like if you look at those brackets, just look at the detail in this bump out bay window with those raised boards, the way they're cut out, all the cornice, all the detail work on the frieze boards with that little scalloping and so forth. I mean, these are beautiful little jewels here in town, you know. And again, a really big tribute to the Victorian architecture and what it was all about.
I'm sorry to cut you off because I know we're on an old historic house tour. We can't walk by magnificent trees like this.
I just can't believe that's what I was going to say.
Yeah?
Exactly, you know.
Is this a sycamore?
I have no idea what kind of tree it is, but it's really, you know, it's got great texture. As you look here, let's take a quick peek at the carriage house to this home. I mean, that building alone, could you imagine having that as a home? You know, and that's the carriage house, but I mean, look at the, exactly, the cupola on the top for ventilation, just the windows and the details.
I would be happy with the birdhouse over there.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, this home has so many incredible details. Whenever you're looking at all the millwork on the side porch, the front porch, you have the upper balcony, you have the double turrets, you have the octagonal turret here on the right, you have the rounded with all the shingle styles on the left turret, you have the rising sun motif on the gable as you go up into the front porch. Again, that half circle, all the trim boards coming in, the second floor balcony. And for people my age that might remember a TV show called Petticoat Junction, if in the hotel lobby there was this ornate Victorian elevator that you could take the lobby and go upstairs, this house does have a functioning ornate elevator, and the stairwell has landings and turns and goes around the elevator to take you to the other levels of the home. It's incredible.
Oh my God. Wow.
And like I said, when you get down on the side, you'll get another little view of it. But with the trees and all, it is a little hard to see all the details. Yeah. But again, just all the details with the shingles.
This is like a fairy tale house. This is like a fairy tale house.
It's magical.
Yeah.
It's magical. That's what it is. Even when you look at all the windows, they have they're called wooden curtains or the blinds, and they all slide on tracks. They slide up and down the windows. They do keep out the cold in the winter and the heat in the summer, and yeah, they're very functional. Okay, whenever you're looking here across the street on our left, you see two homes with columns. Both homes are actually very Victorian homes, but they were remodeled about 1905 to 1910. The White House in front of us here would be a very typical Victorian, larger Victorian home of the time. Look at the transits, look with the stained glass windows and all, look at the chimney details and the dormers. But when you get around the dental molding up under the eaves, the little brackets, the front porch would have been there, the wraparound porch, but the second floor porch and the columns were added because that neoclassic style was, you know, the rage around 1910. The same way with the large brick house on the corner, you have Romanesque details with this stone work over the windows. That house only has like 27 rooms. It has like 13 fireplaces, 7 chimneys, and you know, had the wraparound porch. So whenever we do have photos of it without the columns, and the second floor porch were added in that circa 1905, 1910 timeline to update the property, okay, to put it more into the style of the day with that colonial revival look.
So these houses with like 27 rooms or the big one like that, currently is like one family live there?
One family lives there. Now that house is actually going to be on the Christmas house tour for the Historical Society this year for our 2023 tour. So if you want to see inside, there'll be an opportunity. The brick house here on the corner originally had a green tile roof, kind of like what's on the dormers. This is a Dutch colonial style house. Again, if you look at the features, see that fourth floor, look at the bridge chimneys we had talked about. This house is being restored and worked on, and we're glad to see the home is here and being saved.
Dude, there's so many awesome things I'm learning today with dormers, and the sun motif and all these other details. It's good to be around somebody with meaningful facts, somebody who has insight that is actually valuable. That's just, I just wanted to point that out.
Well, thank you. You know, I mean, it's fun to share this information too, and I'm glad to hear your excitement. Thank you. As we get down onto the corner here, I'd like to talk about the Victorian on the right. We'll get a little bit more detail about it, but I got to point out the Baptist church on the corner. If you look at the tower, you look at the windows in the tower, we talked about the curved glass on some of the other homes. You picked that up, Dominic. You have the same feature here. When you look up in the gable, look at how intricate all the wood details are on the house. The fan motifs to the left and right of the windows on the third floor, the lattice detail, the frieze boards with the quatrefoil design like the Ford shapes. When you look at the skylights up on the attic level, there's a few other homes in town, including the Lux Homestead, have those with the colored glass in them. This is just another incredible Victorian that we have here. The porch was added or redone in about 1926. It was enlarged from the original. And again, you have the wooden curtains or the wooden blinds inside. And again, up on the roof, you have the cresting, the metal details and things that you noticed on some of the other homes. We are going to go back down the street the other way, but I got to point out the second floor porch and things on the house next door as well. Another great feature and things to look at. Okay, we're back on Chestnut Street again. This is still North Chestnut. Whenever we look at the beige colored house, it has a lot of those medieval influences from England where things would be done in masonry. So this was originally a frame house. It has been recited, but it's also called a shingle style. And if you look at near the top of the second floor, how you have the scallop shingles. Then you have the shingles on the front gable on the bottom half. Then it changes to another design and you have the horizontal boards. Again, a very English look, a very Renaissance revival style would be what this house would be classified as. And this was done to give you a lot of shadows and reveal to mimic masonry homes.
Because I was going to say
that's all done in wood.
Newer materials.
This is newer materials, but the owner, for maintenance purposes, chose to go with more contemporary materials and still keep the original character of the property.
This one over here has this awesome metal roof too.
Yes, yeah, and they've done a nice job there with like a lot of the details and so forth in the house. This home here was another home built by the Stauffer family. Originally, this house did have a front porch on it and had a lot of the cresting on the top. This is probably the most truly painted home in the Victorian colors. You would have the very darkest color on the actual windows themselves, a little bit lighter shade for the trim. This is that mansard style roof that we talked about, you know, on the house over on Mulberry, and you know, with that French influence. So it's a combination of styles, beautiful home, well done,
So
Victorian colors.
This would have been a color that was
This is a very
original.
true Victorian of the
Wow.
period, 1880s through the 1890s color scheme. See, whenever polychrome printing was done, you could get paper, you could get things done in colors because of all the inks. All of a sudden, paint was mass produced. So you had companies like Sherwin-Williams. So you were no longer in the backyard using lye, doing whitewash, or taking earth materials and things to make your home-based paints. Now you went to the paint store. And it was a big deal to have all these colors. And because you had those options in the Victorian period, it was kind of out of fashion to have white. So, you know, and then the dark colors, number one, because they were rich and it took so much pigment, they were very desired, and they were also very practical. When you think of coal furnaces, industry, and so forth, the dark colors didn't show the soot and everything. So there were some practical things about it, but in high fashion, the Victorian dark colors, this is a very truly painted Victorian home.
I wish more would do it like this today. This is beautiful.
It is. They've done an incredible job with it.
All right, I mentioned before the renovations and the Airbnbs. I know this is a huge project going on right now.
Sure is. This is a home built by E.H. Reed. The house was built circa 1908. The home did fall into major disrepair. The current homeowner does have a wonderful Georgian or colonial revival home out on South Broadway. She does have it in the carriage house available as a B&B, and the goals are for this particular home is to eventually do the same thing. The top floor ballroom is fantastic.
Top floor ballroom?
The third floor ballroom, original to the house. She's hoping to use that for private functions and so forth. The space is phenomenal.
Wow.
If you see there's a door open on the top floor, if you peek through the scaffolding, once the portico and everything is put back on the property, you'll be able to walk back out on the roof and enjoy the views from that balcony area. These columns were just installed about a month and a half ago. They had major cranes in here. The wooden columns that were on the house were failing due to some poor design the way it was constructed. These are of a marble-based material, so they should last forever. The cypress columns on the side porch were all just replaced. The interior is going through a total renovation from the basics, from the heating, HVAC. There will be an elevator put into the property, and Pat Hill is the owner and has really saved this property. If she would have not stepped in when she did, chances are the house would be more of a shell today.
Incredible.
So incredible investment, an incredible passion for historic homes in Scottdale. We're lucky to have her attention on what she does for the community.
Well, this is as good a place as any to call it a day. There's so many more homes, though, that you can come and check out. Tell them the website one more time about how to get somebody like you to come out here and walk with people around town.
If you visit our website, ScottdaleHistoricalSociety.com, it has our contact information there, and reach out to us and we'll return the call. It might not be immediately, but we are a bunch of volunteers.
Volunteers, so it doesn't cost anything.
So, you know, and when we do tours and things, we typically ask for a donation.
Wow,
you know,
that's
so,
incredible.
Yep.
Very cool. Tom, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the
fist bump you because
opportunity.
I'm holding a thing here.
Yeah.
So
It was a pleasure.
it was a pleasure not having him spout all the facts all the time. So it was good.
Well, it was fun. Thank you very much.
Hey, what about your catchphrase? Catchphrase.
Remember, memories are just a bike, hike, or historical tour away.
Thanks for watching.
Good job, guys. Yeah.
No, great job, you. We followed you.
We're going to play a game called Try-Bonds, birds or Australian slang words, real or fake flavors of Doritos. Hey everybody, this is Jeff from the Stuff I Never Knew Trivia Game Show, and we are looking for contestants for future episodes. If you'd like to play trivia here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, head over to stuffineverknew.com, click Be a Player, fill out the short form, and we'll get you on a future episode. Hope to see you in the hot seat.